America's favorite fast food chain is preparing to expand to Asia and Europe. Hi there, I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with current events and trending topics. You're learning English, so we also like to shed some light on the English-speaking world, and this is one of those episodes. Coming up today, I'll tell you about America's number 3 fast food chain by revenue, but number 1 in terms of customer approval. It's Chick-fil-A, and they're going to expand to Asia and Europe soon. Chick-fil-A really is popular in the US, but it's barely known outside the country. Today, you'll learn all about it. In the second half of the lesson, we'll talk about the English expression, stay in your lane, and we have a song of the week. JR is the producer of Plain English, and he has uploaded this full lesson, number 567, to plainenglish.com/567. Let's get going. Chick-fil-A was founded in 1946 in the suburbs of Atlanta, Georgia. It was called the Dwarf Grill, not a winning name. For years, it was just a single restaurant. In the early 1960s, the owners changed the name to Chick-fil-A. But still, for many years after, it was just a small, regional chain selling chicken sandwiches, waffle fries, and milkshakes. In the 1970s, there were just 100 stores. When you think of American fast food, you think of McDonald's. Behind that, you think Burger King, Pizza Hut, Dunkin' Donuts, KFC, Taco Bell, and Wendy's. Today, you'd have to also think about Starbucks. It's the number 2 fast food restaurant chain by sales and number 1 by number of locations. In the late 2000s, Subway went from being a medium-sized chain to one of the industry heavy hitters. But over the last decade, Chick-fil-A has propelled itself into the big leagues of American fast food. When measured by total sales, Chick-fil-A is the 3rd biggest fast food chain in the United States. And it recently announced a $1 billion investment to expand to Europe and Asia. The specific countries have not yet been announced. So let's start with what it is. The menu is simple, focused on chicken sandwiches, grilled or fried, spicy or normal. There are chicken salads and chicken nuggets. On the side, you can get waffle fries and to drink a milkshake. The breakfast menu is similar. It has chicken on a Southern biscuit or English muffin and just a few other options. This is different from many other fast food chains which try to appeal to a broad audience with a little of everything. Chick-fil-A stays in its lane and focuses on chicken only. The company has benefited from some tailwinds too. In the last decade, American consumers have been eating more chicken and less beef. The chain is also known for its customer service. A recent survey of customer satisfaction showed that most fast food chains achieved about 75% approval from customers. Two chains stood out. McDonald's was about 10% below the average, while Chick-fil-A was about 10% above the average. It has been the highest rated fast food chain every year of this customer satisfaction survey. Here's one more nugget of information. Chick-fil-A is the most popular fast food restaurant among teens in the U.S. Chick-fil-A earned $16.7 billion in sales in 2021, behind only McDonald's and Starbucks. Sales have grown by 15% per year over the last decade, compared to an industry average of just over 3%. That means it has moved its way up the rankings in total sales. In just a single year, 2019, Chick-fil-A passed Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and Subway. But it's curious. Drive around the streets and highways of America, and you won't see a lot of Chick-fil-A restaurants. While it may be third in total sales, it's 18th in number of locations. It doesn't blanket the country like Subway, Starbucks, or McDonald's. There are 2,700 Chick-fil-A locations. Compare that to 15,000 Starbucks locations, 13,000 McDonald's, and 7,000 Burger Kings. But the key is, each Chick-fil-A store makes a lot more than competitors' stores do. The average Chick-fil-A does over $8 million in sales each year, compared to under $3 million for the average McDonald's. That means people will go out of their way and drive farther to get to a Chick-fil-A than they will for other chains. The company has carefully managed store growth, purposely trying to make each store more profitable rather than opening too many locations. This has also helped with quality control, keeping the customer experience uniform. But now the time has come for Chick-fil-A to spread its wings and open in international markets, according to a recent announcement from the company. KFC is extremely popular in Asia, and I'm telling you, Chick-fil-A is better than KFC. The company has KFC in its sights. A few other things to know about Chick-fil-A. It's a private company closely held by a family. Most of the big fast food chains are either public or owned by private equity firms. Now, being owned by a family lets the company do things in its own way. In customer service, that has been good for the company's prospects. In other ways, not so much. For a long time, the company's CEO made statements against gay marriage, saying it went against religious teachings. And the company's foundation made donations to groups that were seen as hostile to gay rights. In fact, a Chick-fil-A location once opened in London only to close just weeks later after strong protests. Since then, the company has worked to repair its image. That CEO has been replaced, and the company no longer makes donations to politically oriented causes. But it still hangs on to one tradition from the founder's religious beliefs. The chain is not open on Sundays. Chick-fil-A is a favorite of ours here at Plain English. JR likes the chicken sandwiches, and he especially likes the waffle fries. I am partial to the breakfast menu. They have a chicken biscuit for breakfast that is just absolutely yummy and delicious. Not every location is open for breakfast, but I am telling you, this is my favorite item on any fast food menu, hands down, the Chick-fil-A chicken biscuit breakfast sandwich. If you ever have the chance to try it, take it. The coffee isn't bad either. Chick-fil-A is also known for its commercials. The commercials all feature cows, and the cows are telling you, in their own way, to eat more chicken. They're clever because eating chicken is considered healthier for you, but a cow is the one telling you, and the cow obviously has a very personal interest in you not eating beef. Today's expression is stay in your lane. JR is a swimmer, so we're going to use a swimming analogy. JR swims every day. I think he was a fish in a previous life. And he swims laps, lots of them. And in the pool he goes to, there are swim lanes. The lanes are designed to keep people from crashing into each other. If everyone just swam wherever they wanted, there would be chaos, so there are lanes. So think about this with the phrase stay in your lane. This is often used in a business or professional sense, and it means focus on your own responsibilities, or focus on your own area of expertise without interfering with the responsibilities or expertise of others. Because if you don't stay in your lane, just like in a swimming pool, you'll cause chaos and bother other people. What do they sell at Chick-fil-A? They sell chicken. Their menu is chicken sandwiches, fried chicken sandwiches, grilled chicken sandwiches, spicy chicken sandwiches without a lot of toppings, chicken sandwiches with a lot of toppings, salads, but with chicken on top, chicken nuggets, chicken fingers. And I said this about Chick-fil-A. I said they stay in their lane. That means they're not trying to compete with Wendy's on burgers. They're not trying to compete with Taco Bell on tacos. They don't have beef. They don't have fish. And they don't have a vegetarian option. They don't have special themed menu items. They have their own expertise and they stick to it. They stay in their lane. Contrast that with a visit to McDonald's. They have lots of beef burgers, but they also have chicken sandwiches. They have a fish sandwich. If you're lucky, you might get a pork rib sandwich, but that's seasonal. For a long time, they served breakfast all day. At breakfast, you can get sandwiches, pancakes, a burrito, muffins, or oatmeal. Now, there's nothing wrong, per se, with the McDonald's approach, but Chick-fil-A's approach has been different. Their expertise is chicken, and they decided to stay in their lane. That has helped them stay focused on their brand, keep the menu simple, streamline operations, and maintain quality control. You guys know I used to work in consulting, and my huge firm would do large consulting projects for clients. And often, these projects would have many different teams working on them, each team with its own specialty, and each team with its own responsibilities in the bigger project. My industry specialty was real estate, and we would often be one part of a much larger team working on a big project. And when there were multiple teams working on a project, it was important for us all to stay in our own lanes. We had to identify who was going to do what. We had to recognize who had what expertise. And then, when we did the project, we all had to focus on our own responsibilities and expertise and not wander off into other parts of the project that we knew less about. You can use this in the imperative. If someone is doing things they shouldn't be doing, not because it's wrong, but because it's outside their expertise or responsibilities, you can say to that person, stay in your lane. For example, if I start editing the video lessons and uploading only parts of each plain English lesson to the website, then I would be veering outside my responsibilities here at Plain English, and I would be causing confusion and probably not even doing it right. So if that ever happened, JR can call me up and say, stay in your lane. That means stop doing the things that are JR's job here because you're causing confusion and not doing it right. And I would have to pay attention. Just be aware when you use this that this is not a gentle way of expressing the idea. If you ever tell someone, stay in your lane, this is an admonishment. This is a very direct, almost harsh way of telling someone to back off. You would only say this if more polite, more indirect messages didn't work. For that reason, you often hear this when someone is talking about someone else, almost complaining, rather than talking directly to that other person. JR might grumble to one of our other team members, JR, JR might grumble to one of our other team members and say, Jeff really needs to stay in his lane. And then he might call me up and politely suggest, using softer words, that maybe I should stick to my own job and not worry about his responsibilities. Today's song of the week is Beast of Burden by the Rolling Stones. This was late career Rolling Stones. They had matured, and some of their songs were mellower. This one has a soul vibe. A beast of burden is like a donkey or a mule or an animal used in heavy labor. The lyrics open with, I'll never be your beast of burden, and it reflects a man who's later in his career and is tired of working and wants to settle down into a more tranquil life. It's one of my favorite Rolling Stones songs. Beast of Burden is the song of the week for today. And that brings us to the end of today's Plain English. If you haven't been to a Chick-fil-A, you are missing out. They're not super popular in the cities. I think there are only 3 in all of Chicago. Like I said, they don't have a lot of stores. But if you're in a place with a Chick-fil-A, you have to visit. I was in Pittsburgh, a medium-sized city, a few weeks ago, and I had an early morning flight, I think 7 a.m., and there's a Chick-fil-A at the Pittsburgh airport, and I confess I had 2 chicken biscuit sandwiches for breakfast that day. 1 is plenty. I had 2. I didn't need to eat for several hours, but it was worth it. They are so delicious. All right, enough of that. We have a new topic coming up on Monday. Remember to check us out on Instagram at Plain English Pod. Leave your comments and likes on the content that we post. See you right back here on Monday.